guys, this is Charlie from Sister Sis and Ace from Acegottalk. Today we're going to be expanding on the lovely topic of love languages. In
relation to leveling up or letting go.
Okay, give you the platform first.
So your last podcast was very interesting, and I took a lot from it in relation to different contextual scenarios where the people around you, you either value them and they value you, and you're leveling up or you're letting go.
Yes.
But just using that analogy and putting it into the context of relationships and love languages. We all speak different love languages.
Yes.
And not everybody is as ambitious as everybody. So you might meet somebody and you connect emotionally, you connect physically, but one person could be more ambitious than the other.
Yes.
One person can have more drive than the other. One person could be more spiritually in tune than the other. You know, sometimes people get in relationships and they're like chalk and cheese.
Yes.
So leveling up or letting go. It's fair to say in a relationship it's not good to change someone, and you should accept people for who they are.
That's true to a certain extent, because sometimes you could develop emotions for somebody, but there may be a specific thing that they do that means that it can't move forward. It's not that you'd want to change the whole person, but if there's one aspect that you can see things would be so much greater if that one thing is worked on, then that change is welcomed.
Give me an example.
Maybe if you get with someone who everything's great, you've been on a few dates, chemistry's fantastic, then you start to realise that this person is more reactive than you are. You're more of a peaceful person. So you may go out to dinner, this person is always confrontational with waiters and things like that. You're a person that will just happily eat what you want to eat. You have to get to a place where there's a common ground, because one, the peaceful person will always be irritated by the confrontation, or the confrontational person is going to be irritated by the other person maybe being too placid in their eyes. So there has to be a middle ground somewhere.
100, but I think in that scenario that's just more a case of the confrontational person needs to learn some manners and behavioural skills.
But that's a change. That's what we go back to what you originally said. That's something that they may need to change. So it's not that you want to change the whole person, because you still love the person, but maybe their confrontational side of them is what needs to change. So it's just maybe one change.
But in all fairness, life is a lot usually more complicated than that. And the changes that you're referring to when you talk about leveling up or letting it go are a lot more deeper than just, bad table manners.
Oh no, definitely. You have people who don't want you to level up. They don't want you to do well educationally. They don't want you to do well career-wise. They are begrudging whether you have a nicer car, don't want to go too much into the materialistic side of it, but they're not necessarily happy for you to be doing these things. These are the kind of people that don't want you to level up, and you shouldn't necessarily have that energy around you because they're not happy for you. They're not going to push you further. They're not going to inspire you to level up. You find that when people hold their hands in life, they encourage each other. The greatest people are usually those who have made it and turn around to put their hand back out to help others up. Not just shout on the mountaintop, look at me. So leveling up is definitely crosses all types of bonds, family bonds, friendship bonds and intimate bonds. It's always good to have somebody. I don't mean someone that comes in and says, oh my gosh, you know what, you look better if you do this, and you'd be better if you do this, and that's dictating and telling someone what they should be to fit your narrative. But there's nothing wrong with having someone that says, do you know what, babe, if you go to college and do this course, I think actually you could progress down this angle. Or if you do this exercise or something, you could get better health benefits from it. That's leveling up.
Now, this is where I was hoping that you went. So let's just use those two examples, the exercise example. Now, you might be with somebody, like you said, and you're attracted to that person, you love them, but you might notice they're a bit overweight. And you might be someone who's quite into gym and exercise, and you're into all that yoga and stuff, and you said you start to encourage your partner to go to the gym because it'd be better for their health. But just say that person wasn't that way inclined.
Maybe it's something you can do as a journey together, as opposed to telling them that you might need to do this.
They're not interested in health and fitness. They're overweight.
But then if it's something that's going to grate on, say the fitness buds, then if it's going to grate on your nerve, then it's something that's not going to work for you. It's going to be a little voice at the back of your head that's niggling away at you. So it's up to you. Are you going to be able to let it go that they don't want to do it? Or are you going to keep pushing and this isn't going to work for you?
So in that situation, would you say if that person wasn't on the same page as you in terms of getting themselves fit, level up or let go?
Yeah.
So just...
It'd be letting go. Because there's no leveling up. That's the answer. If that person doesn't want to level up...
So therefore that could be considered as you changing that person, because this is how you met me. I was overweight and this is how you met me, and now you're saying I must go to the gym, but I don't want to go to the gym.
But it depends on, in life, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Still, I'm not interested in going to the gym. You're asking me to change. It's not part of who I am.
Then, in my personal opinion, I don't think that union would work. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing of resistance, where one wants it to happen and the other one doesn't. No compromise, no levelling up. How do you get past that point? There's a block, you're on this side, that person's on that side, and they're not levelling up. So how is anyone reaching the top?
The reason why I stuck on that fitness analogy is because once we start to go deeper down the rabbit hole, you got things like ambition.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of time when people in relationships, the levels of their ambition are different.
Yeah.
And what people want are different. What people want, in terms of the bigger picture is different.
Yeah.
And that can cause a lot of conflict.
Definitely, then ambition can be entwined with other things, because you can get insecurities, you can get partners that don't want their partner to level up because they are insecure about where that will take that person financially, what environments and workspaces they're going to be in. So you've got people, let's talk about, okay, I'm not going to male bash or anything, but if we just address the males now, there are a lot of men who cannot securely have their women earning more money than them. There's a lot of men that don't want their women to go back to education because it means she's going to level up. And they're happy with where they were and they don't want their partner to level up. Then you have the other side of it, where there are people out there pushing their partner to do more because they can see the purpose and the progress that this person can make. And out of love, they want to encourage that person to be the best that they can be. So actually, ambition can be entwined with so many different things. Some people could be more ambitious because the relationship isn't working. The ambition and the career is their escapism from the relationship.
But just going back to the point about men not wanting their women to earn more money than them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you touched on the education thing. So we'll do the education next, but any man.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't want them. Yeah.
Any man. If you earn, 10 grand a year,
Mm-hmm.
if the man is supposed to earn 12, you know what I mean? If you're earning 20, he was earning 30, you're earning 40. You don't want to be on 60, 70 grand a year salary, yeah, and your man's working in Tesco's on 12 grand a year. He ain't going to feel like a man in his own
No,
house.
understandably, like me and Tan have discussed these things before about, the traditional sort of roles and, like a man's ego, like his purpose, he's supposed to provide and things like that.
Yeah.
But in reality, in this day and age, there are women who get with people, unfortunately, who their education level or their level of what they can put out there in the world is slightly higher than the person they're with. Now, they could have been in love, there was no problems. The minute that man realises that that woman is either going to command a higher salary or she's going to be out there in the world more than he is, it becomes a problem. So it wasn't the relationship, it wasn't the problems in the relationship, it was the fact that she can now do more or command more that is the main problem.
And you can say that's the case for all relationships?
No. I never use blanket statements. It's not for all. There are some, and that's why I said on the other hand, you've got some fantastic partners who encourage you to do more, who will actually say, babe, why don't you sign up to this course? Do you know what, they're running this thing down the community centre? Or why don't you, go back and do your masters as opposed to just having your BA? Or why don't you apply for that job? There are people out there that do that as well. So we go back deeper than just the ambition. It's about the person and how they feel about themselves. If you're secure in yourself, you have no issue with how your partner puts themselves out there, whether it's dress-wise to a certain extent, because you're comfortable. No.
We've gone from career to education to dress-wise.
Because it's all confidence. It's if a partner's insecure.
Let's break it down. Let's unpack it, because we was on the. We can touch on the dress thing. We can touch on that.
Yeah.
But let's start with. We were just unpacking the career thing, because, like I said, for a lot of any man, I'm a man.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, if you're not earning a certain salary, or doing your thing a certain way, you will feel insecure if, every time you're going out, your woman has to defend the bill.
But then again, not for all situations. There are some men that understand that is just the situation they're in. Their partner may
I think every man understands when he's in that situation.
No, definitely. But there are some, like, say for instance, I know some people who the woman went back after having children, got a degree, got a career as a social worker or like a higher level job. The guy, the level that he was at, isn't going to command a social worker salary. He doesn't have the knack to go back to university. She's now become the higher earner where she.
Why doesn't he have the knack to go back to university?
Within himself, maybe he doesn't feel like he can go back to university. He doesn't have the academics.
Okay, so why isn't at that point? And I don't know. I got just for my. I don't know why I got a picture of a black man in my head and a black woman while we're having this conversation. But so why doesn't that black woman encourage that black man and lift him up to give him the tools he needs to have the knack to go back and
get educated again? Maybe she
has.
has.
But you just said he doesn't have the tools.
Yeah, but then if someone could be encouraging you, and if you don't have self-belief and self-confidence to know that you can execute this degree course, she may sit down and help him with homework for all we know. But if he doesn't have confidence in himself, he's not going to do it. He may even start resenting her because she keeps encouraging to do something that he isn't confident to do himself. And it could work for the other way. It could be that a man is encouraging his woman to do something she doesn't feel totally comfortable doing it. So she then doesn't push herself that bit further. And in terms of the dress, the only reason why I went into the dress side of things is because you have men who are okay with their partner progressing, men who aren't. You have men who are confident with their women going out on a Friday night and wearing certain clothes, not being too revealing and putting themselves out there as such. But you've got men that are okay with their women confidently going out, being around other males in a work setting or whatever. And then you've got other men who are totally insecure with that. So that's the only reason why I brought in a different example where there are men who are looking at things from different perspectives, but it's the same situation, and that would go down to what they're thinking, what they're feeling inside, and what they may have been through in the past.
May have been through in the past plays a big role, because the thing about it is there's a thin line between love and hate, but when you talk about revealing, let's just say your woman is wearing very revealing clothing and she's around men. In a social environment, and there might be alcohol and other things involved that can lower people's inhibitions.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Only a fool wouldn't be concerned if his woman was in the wrong company, because men are men.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Let me stop you there then. Okay, this is where we go back to now discerning between people.
And I'm not saying that I'm insecure, but I'm just giving that an example to say, and I want you to continue, that some men, it's not that they're insecure. Yeah, they could be comfortable with their woman in that environment, but they're still aware.
Oh, definitely. But then there's a huge difference between aware and insecurity.
Yeah, there is, 100%. But you can't not say no. Well, because humans are just humans. People are just people.
Definitely, because you've got some people that be like, okay, I know my girl's gone out, whatever. She said she's going to call me when she comes home, whatever. They're not thinking, okay, she said she's going to call me, what's she doing in between? They'll just wait for the phone call. Then you've got other people whose minds will be working overtime. What's happening before I got this phone call?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying to you. It's not the situation, it's the person themselves and how they deal with it. If you've been with a girl in the past who drinks, who behaves a certain way when she drinks and when she's around males, and you never know whether something's going to happen with those males or you're going to hear something, granted, you get with somebody new who might drink, who might also be in social settings, but they have no intentions of doing any of those things. Men will still have male thoughts and certain thoughts, but should it be okay to then deal with that new person in an insecure type of not really trusting you sense because of what the last person done.
But we could delve into the realms of jealousy.
Yeah.
And I say that I think jealousy is a healthy part of all relationships. So if you can't feel a little bit jealous about, the woman the company your partner's keeping,
Yeah.
it might just show a level of
disinterest. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing for them for you
Yeah.
to even be sort of slightly. I hear that. You don't want to be with someone where you're so laid back, you just think, nah, do whatever you want. But in the same breath, I do agree with you also that there is a level of insecurity, there is a level of jealousy but there's a healthy level.
Yeah, there's a healthy level of jealousy.
There's a healthy level. When you start worrying about what they're doing, that person's around man, that person's got alcohol, straight away what you've done is discredit the actual person. Because whether the person has alcohol in them, if they know themselves, they're not going to do something they're not supposed to do.
But alcohol does lower inhibitions though, doesn't it?
But again, you have to know your levels of alcohol intolerance. If you're a person that just drinks to get plastered and not know what you're doing, then how do you trust somebody like that? If you know someone who drinks, never gets to a paralytic stage, is still aware, tipsy or not, but is still aware of what they're doing, you have to take each individual situation just that, individually on its own merits.
Yeah, but it's not just alcohol, that's just one example. I mean, even
Exactly.
sometimes just the way people dress can just cause a lot of unwanted attention. It can be the way people dance, just cause a lot of unwanted attention.
Definitely, but then you go back to the person. Do you trust the person? Because it all comes down to what you and that person have. That you can have a person that wears clothes from head to toe, and that person could go out there and cheat on you. You
True.
could have someone that wears revealing clothes that's one of the most loyal people to you ever.
True.
So it's not about, if someone really wants you and really cares about you, it doesn't matter how much unwanted attention they get, they will still be for you. If they're not for you, they'll start to reciprocate it wouldn't be unwanted at this point because they're reciprocating it, the attention. But if you are a person who respects, who is loyal, who takes your word seriously, no matter what you wear, no matter what you go, no matter what environment you're in, or what kind of people you're around, you will stay strong to your central compass.
Interesting.
Thank you.